Hello there, my name is Joseph Opok and I'm here to present assignment 1 of the teacher course, and I'm going to use this form of questions. What is education? Education is a process of helping individuals become mature and sustainable. It is not just the knowledge that you give to the students or the pupils that you're teaching, but it is also the character that you're building in them so that they may flower in love and in greatness. The highest form of education is to bring about an integrated individual who is capable of dealing with life as a whole. Now, one thing I know about education that I firmly believe education is that at the end of a student's education process, maybe they have finished with everything, maybe they have gone through university, or they are done with the education as they know it, they should be able to sustain themselves in day-to-day life, that they do not depend on others, but they can firmly negotiate life and have a stable living in love. Education can also be thought of as a process that involves equipping individuals with skills, values, right morals, beliefs, and habits. Now, with habits and beliefs, this one needs to be done at the grassroots. Meaning when the children are still very young, we need to teach them that. We need to teach them the right beliefs and so on. Why is education important to a total church? Education is essential in equipping church members with the necessary skill set to become word-filled. Now, as a church, we are determined to equip our students, meaning the students who are in total church schools, with the tools to read the word of God and be able to put it into action. But at the same time, to also raise spirit-led worship leaders that can change the spiritual environment within Uganda and around the world. The content that is taught in Ototo Church schools involves biblical aspects that are reflective of ministerial expectations. Meaning, as you're going through the schools, they will open up your eyes to know where God has called you to be and where you need to be placed. What is passive learning? And discuss the pros and cons of this type of learning. Now, passive learning usually involves the instructor or the teacher giving instructions, and all the student does is to receive the information and internalize it. Usually, most times, the learner or the student rarely gets feedback. It's rare that there is feedback from the instructor. Now, this form of education has, of course, advantages and disadvantages. One of the standard advantages is that you can easily get exposed to new material, and there is also some form of order in this form of learning, because when you're involved with passive learning, it's all about you settling down and hearing and receiving from the tutor or from the teacher at hand. And there's also a chance of covering a lot more information, maybe teaching more than what you would have taught in other forms of learning. So it really works in situations where people are many. Maybe it's a big class and students are so many. So passive learning would be best then. But also there are a lot of cons. There are things that wouldn't work so well, mainly with the current situation of the world, where students are required to have knowledge and knowledge that is permanent with them, that they can use in the future. So I feel like there is limited this time given to discussions. It's also very hard to assess how well the student has understood. Like, you can't really know whether this student has understood or not. It is hard to really vet to know whether people have really taken in the information you've given them wholly. What is experiential learning? And discuss the pros and cons of this type of learning. Now, experiential learning is where we learn by experience. It's a process where students are involved in the lessons, meaning the students want to be hands-on. It's like they are close with the teacher or the lecturer. They get to do things their own way. Now, in this form of learning, it usually involves students taking the initiative. They make decisions. Now, all the teacher does is to tell them the expected outcome, the result. We need to know that this is where we need to be. So the student will use different ways. The various students, maybe you have a couple like 10 students in the class, they will have all different ways of reaching the desired goal, but they will use different paths to reach the same goal. This form of education also allows students to be intimate with the teacher, meaning there is more room for creativity, there is more room for there's more room to learn from our mistakes, even from our successes. We can learn properly through this form of learning. This type of learning, the only problem is, one of the disadvantages is it requires a lot of patience from the teacher. Now, when you're teaching with experiential learning, the teacher is supposed to do a lot of the work, meaning you're doing a lot of research, you're doing everything you can to simplify the course. So it puts a lot of strain on the teacher, and it requires a lot of patience, because sometimes in the classes, in the lessons, there is no wrong answer. You kind of take all answers and then you discuss them as students. Even if you know that it is not right, you have to find a way of not refuting the answers given, but giving an explanation why they are not right. Now, how do you create a positive learning environment in a class setting? To me, whenever I think about class setting, I remember back in school, sometimes it was so boring being in class, and we feel like we're distant from the teachers. So I feel one of the most important thing is, as a teacher, you need to take time and before the lesson starts, take time and greet students, get to know how they are doing. If you can, stand on the entry and have a conversation which is not related to the course you're going to be doing or to the lesson you're going to be having that day. Just have a normal conversation, get to know them, ask them how their day was. This will open them up for the lesson. And also get to tell your students about yourself. Let them know who you are, as you also get interested in knowing what they are up to. And also, don't judge students. Maybe you have a student in your class that is very stubborn. Don't just judge them all of a sudden. Or students who are very talkative, get to know why they're like that. Be curious. Ask them why. Why do you do this? Something like that. It will build them up. What does the teacher do? And as a teacher, I feel the most essential thing for you to do is to always get information, get data that relates to the course that you're teaching. Let it be in-depth data, so that when you present, so one of your most important things you have to do is to do research and come up with knowledge that you're going to share with your students. That knowledge that the knowledge will help build their character in time. Teachers also give students tools needed to solve problems. Teachers also give students tools needed to solve problems by applying the facts and concepts that they have learned. So the tools that the teachers will always give to the students will help them in day-to-day life, so that they may solve the problems they meet in life. And also, as a teacher, you need to plan for events. Let it not be that you're always the class guy. Plan some events out of class that students can relate more and more with ease with you. How can a teacher challenge perception of education? I feel like the perception of education in Uganda, that it is in Uganda, people take it like education is by force. So students grow up not loving education because they think it is something that I'm forced into doing. So as a teacher, I feel like I need to find ways of making students fall in love with education, meaning I can maybe change the way I'm teaching them, so that because students understand differently, the way they learn is differently. Others learn through visual, others learn through auditory, meaning they just listen and they understand. Others love reading, others are kinesthetic, they like doing things. I mean, if you're teaching them how to play guitar, they want to play it themselves. So it's important to be there. The students need to feel comfortable to love education in order to make it not feel a strain on them. So it's just that. And also, as a teacher, you need to be interested. Share your life situation. Share what makes challenges you faced in your career or in whatever you're teaching. Maybe I'm teaching piano. Share your challenges that you faced as a piano player. What do you feel that excites you? What are you always excited to do something like that. God bless you. Yeah.